Welcome everybody to episode 5, I believe, of Waking Up Consciously podcast with me, your host Simon Fooks. And tonight, it's not really waking up; we're going out, I suppose. But tonight, my guest is Wynne-Jones. Click the invite button. Here we go. Yay! We did it.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm good. I'll turn my volume up. It's a little bit hard to hear you.
Uh,
Thank you for joining me tonight. So, I just want to introduce you quickly. So, Saul is a bars facilitator, an access consciousness certified facilitator. He's an X-Men and talk to the animals facilitator. Did I miss anything?
there's probably other stuff, but that's plenty.
Yeah. And tonight we wanted to jump on the live and just talk to you guys about, and feel free if anyone wants to ask some questions, just drop them in the comments section below. But tonight we wanted to talk about the topic of being bored, because something that as an X-Men is that we have capacities to do about 6 billion things at once, and then also simultaneously get bored with these things. So do you want to maybe talk a little bit about what it means to be bored?
Sure. I mean, we have like a kind of like a different species on the planet, basically, which are humanoids, and those are the ones that the creators of everything. They always need to be doing things different. They can never do the same thing again and again without getting bored. And so basically, like, the humanoids really live from an insatiable, desire that will never be fulfilled. So they always desire more, and they always want to have more. They always want to create more. They always want to be more. And what you find for these people is that you will get to these sort of pockets or these places in your life where things just don't seem to be moving as fast as you would like them to, and things don't seem to be showing up as fast as you would like them to. And so you tend to get what we would say, we would call bored. You get a bit fed up with how slow everything is moving around you. And so X-Men as well, I should probably just explain a little bit about that. It's an affectionate reference to the Marvel comics, and basically X-Men are the ones that don't fit in. They're different, and they have often been labeled with disabilities such as ADD, ADHD, OCD, and autism. And one of the things about X-Men is if they don't have enough going on in their life, they tend to get bored and start creating crap in their life.
Yeah, OCC.
Yes.
And it's something that I love that Gary Douglas mentioned. I was listening to a telecall recently that he did a few years back, and he said, as a humanoid, you need to be working on 8 to 10 businesses in order to keep, sorry, I've got my computer on like, in the background, in order to keep yourself like occupied. And I think I was counting the other day. I think I'm at about 7 or 8, and it's interesting too. Still realizing that I still get friggin' bored. I might have like 6 billion things to do, and I remember actually saying to myself the other week where I was like, I don't want to take on any more projects. I don't want to do any more stuff. And then someone was like, "Hey, do you want to work on this?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh man!" But it's that thing of like, the more we actually create in our lives, the less we tend to create shit. Because for a humanoid, like you said, and you guys might identify as such, is that humanoids need to be creating. If we're not creating our life, we'll start destroying crap just out of sheer boredom. And it's basically like Saul mentioned too, this thing with ADHD and ADD is that we operate on such a fast level that's why it's so easy for us to get bored. So,
Yeah.
do you want to speak more about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess so with adding things to your life, it's like, it doesn't necessarily need to be a business. It could be a project. It could be anything really that you're interested in. But, humanoids love usually creating business, and it's fun for them. One thing that I would say, I guess, is that when you don't have enough going on, what you tend to do is you'll think about something that you want to do, and because you've got so much time to think about it, you end up basically completing it in your head before you even get to creating it. Whereas if you're like Simon and you have, 7 or more businesses, you don't really have so much time to think about all this stuff. So you actually will move on to the next project and like start creating it. And that's really where like humanoid X-Men creation comes alive. And one of the things about that is when you've got a lot going on, you actually end up completing things without realizing it. And that's another thing for X-Men, for humanoids, is they find it really hard to complete things because creation is actually like it's ongoing. It never ends. But you can complete certain projects and certain things that need to, sort of like come to an end. But it's creation for us is very much more of a like a spherical awareness of possibilities, basically.
Yeah, I love that you're talking about this too, because it's something that, and I'm not sure who I was listening to who was talking about this the other day, but they basically said, so, and I noticed this come up in my world a couple of weeks ago where I had one thing to do on one day and I hated that day and I could not get it done. But when I added like another 10 things to the next day, I was like, now I can actually get that one thing done. I can go and get all the other things done now. So it's really interesting actually when you start acknowledging like how much, like, and this is the thing is like we're taught in this reality, and I used to have this point of view before I came to Access where I had my business and that was way too much for me. That was like I had more than enough going on and I was like, there's no way in hell I want to add another business. That's insane. And then I was like, do you know what? I'll try it and see what happens. And I started adding different businesses and working with different businesses. And it actually, I mean, besides the fact that like it added more to my life, it actually taught me a lot of new skills that I wasn't actually going to learn had I just stuck into my business. And that's one of the gifts too, is like, it's just acknowledging like, hey, we can actually function in completely different ways to the way most people can function. And I remember during the Global Foundation this year, a young girl stood up and said, I'm at university, I'm doing 12 subjects at the moment. I'm supposed to be doing 10, and I want to add another 2 to my workload, but the university won't actually let me do it. They're like trying to take away some of the work. So it's just actually acknowledging, hey, we might actually function a little bit differently here. And yeah.
Yeah, and some of you, might identify with the thing that Simon was just talking about before, where it's like you will spend a whole day basically trying to get one thing done, and you sort of like you judge yourself for not doing it, and it becomes hard and difficult. And then you can also have like 1 hour in one day where you get a list of things that you've been trying to do for a week done, just like that. And so that's also part of the beauty of like adding to your life and having more going on, is that when the energy is not there for something in one area of your business or your life, you can move on and create with something else that's actually available to be moved on. Or there's always basically something that requires your energy, and when you have enough going on, you can put your awareness and your attention on different parts, different businesses, different aspects of your life, and everything gets to grow in that way. So yeah, it's way more
Yeah,
fun
I love it too. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I just love it because it actually gets to utilize, like for certain people who have like ADHD and ADD, it's like, I love it because it works in my favor of like, I can be aware of like 5 different businesses, and one morning one thing will ping, then the next thing will ping, but it allows us to actually express that the way our brains actually function, and like being able to do 6 billion things at once, whereas we're normally told we're too scatterbrained, where we're actually not friggin' scatterbrained. We're actually just aware of like 6 billion things talking to us at once. And when you start to actually acknowledge that and then use that capacity to your advantage, it's like, holy crap, your life becomes so much friggin' easier. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example of, like ADD, which is supposed to be where you have an attention deficit disorder, but actually you have an ability to be aware of multiple things simultaneously. And yeah, when you learn to use that to your advantage, like Simon's talking about, you open the door to a different reality and people start to go, oh, wow, I wish I could do that. And, they start to reach for it, which is very cool.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Has anyone got any questions that they want to ask about being bored? So
Well,
what's your go-to? What's that?
Well, I was just going to say on the thing of being bored, another part of being a humanoid X-Men is you're aware of everything that's going on around you, pretty much 8 to 8,000 miles in all directions. And so, there are a lot of people out there that do the same thing and go to the same places and basically, are what we would think and see as extremely boring. So if you are really bored, yeah, you might want to also look at, okay, so who am I being aware of right now and who am I being? And if I was really choosing for my reality, what would I choose?
Yeah. So what's some of the tools, or what's a tool that you can suggest when people start? Well, besides the one that you just spoke about, what's another tool that people can use when they start actually acknowledging, hey, actually, I am a little bit bored with my life now. What else? Like, what tool would you suggest for them to use?
Well, so I would start with a few questions. So, what is this? Can I do anything with it? And can I change it? Okay. And, if you get that you can't change it, it's probably because it's not yours. Okay. Because you cannot change what's going on in someone's world if they're not willing to change it. And, often like you'll have an awareness of an energy and then you'll try and apply it to your life and make it relevant to your life when it might actually not have even been yours in the first place. Okay. So if you ask a few questions, you can get clear on, your awareness, whether it's yours, whether it's not yours, if you can change it, if you can't change it. So that will give you a little bit more, clarity around what's going on. If that doesn't work, my next thing, you're not going to like this, but is to actually indulge in the boredom. So basically just go, okay, how bored can I be today? What's the most boring thing I can do? And really just actually dive in, because, what we resist
That
tends
sounds
to,
terrifying.
yeah, I know. But what we resist tends to persist. So if you actually just jump in, you'll probably get over it a whole lot quicker than if you, try and resist it for a whole day. So that would be my tips for getting over boredom.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, can you think of anything else you want to share on this topic?
No, I
I
would
think
say,
we're getting bored.
yeah, we're getting bored of this. No, it's been interesting because I've been asking people questions, on social media about this, and I think it's something that a lot of the creative people actually have going on in their world, and I guess it's just about addressing it in a different way and using the tools of access consciousness that we have to create a different possibility in this area. So, yeah, thanks,
Yeah. Uh,
thanks for chatting about it.
You're welcome. It just actually, something else did ping to me then, was like when you mentioned before, oh no, I think it just left my brain. Yep, no, it's completely gone out of my brain.
The
Oh,
train has
it was,
left
no,
the
it's
station.
coming back now.
Okay.
It's basically like looking at, so before you mentioned, this is how my brain works, is like before you mentioned too that like with that thing of like we can do the entire like job in our brain even before we've started, and then we get bored like even before we've done that. And I've noticed that massively this week with certain aspects of my business where I was like, I have to do this, and I was like, this is going to take ages. I'm bored already. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So
Well, so like X-Men have an ability to basically extrapolate upon things, which basically means like adding to every element of it. And when you do that, it can be very easy to do that basically from a place of like concluding what something can be, but you can also extrapolate from like question, choice, possibility, and contribution, which is like a different way of creating. And so more often than not, you know, when you make a choice, you'll get awareness of what that choice creates, and it opens up different paths of possibilities that you can go for from that place. Whereas when we do it all in our mind, it just tends to be, okay, I know how to get from A to B and then all the way through to where I want to go, which is a capacity, but it doesn't have to be like that. There are multiple different possibilities that are actually available along the way. So it's kind of like changing the course of creation, I guess, in a way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for jumping on and having a chat with me about this. So if anyone wants to find you and maybe do a class with you, since you do have a class coming up called Bored, which I'm doing because I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like messaging you, asking questions. I'm like, oh my God, I'm bored and I'm doing all these things, but I'm still freaking bored. So it's happening on Monday. At what time is it? Australian?
I think it'll be 9 p.m. I'm pretty sure.
9 p.m.
Yeah.
But also they can look you up. Is it on Wynne-Jones.com?
That's the one. Yeah. That's where you can find.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, my friend.
No worries.
Bye, guys.
See ya. See you guys. Thank you.